Welcome to Canada, the podcast that helps you prepare for your Canadian adventure with clarity and confidence. Hello, future newcomers, and welcome to your Canadian Prep Zone. You're listening to episode number 31, and it is recorded in June 2026. I'm Emma, your host and your international mobility coach. I'm here to help you prepare, plan, and thrive in your move to Canada. If you're listening to me today, chances are Canada is already part of your dreams. Maybe you're picturing your very first Canadian winter, your first student apartment, or that feeling of freedom that comes with starting a new life somewhere else. Yes, studying in Canada is an incredible project. The country is home to several highly respected universities. But this dream comes at a cost. And I'm not only talking about money. There are also sacrifices, doubts, administrative procedures, mental exhaustion, and sometimes even the temptation to give up. Building a study project in Canada takes time and energy. My role here is to help you gain clarity by guiding you toward the right questions to ask yourself. First, let's take a look at the different types of post-secondary institutions you'll find in Canada. Broadly speaking, there are colleges and universities. Most of the time, university is all about knowledge, research, and critical thinking. If you're aiming for a career in research, law, medicine, or if you genuinely enjoy theoretical analysis, then university is definitely the place to be. Some people have dreamed their whole lives of studying at a major international university. For them, stepping onto a prestigious campus feels almost like the achievement of a lifetime. And it's true that Canada is home to some world-renowned universities. According to the 2026 Times Higher Education Rankings, the University of Toronto, McGill University, and University of British Columbia are among the best universities in the world. They offer prestigious environments, incredible research networks, and strong international recognition. Now, let's talk about colleges. In general, colleges and institutes are all about efficiency and hands-on learning. They focus primarily on the job market. You learn by doing. A 2 or 3-year college diploma can make you job ready almost immediately. Canadian employers highly value these kinds of profiles because students graduate with practical, concrete skills. If your goal is to enter the workforce quickly with specialized expertise, for example, in technology, nursing, or project management, then college can be just as valuable a path as university. This more practical approach can also help reduce financial pressure, allow you to find a job faster, and help you build your future with greater stability. All right, let's talk about a sensitive but essential topic: money. Studying in Canada is expensive, and it's important to approach this reality with a clear and honest mindset. The last thing you want is for a beautiful adventure to turn into a financial burden, because there is nothing harder than trying to live your dream while constantly worrying about money. Something to keep in mind about Canada: tuition fees are not the same across the country. They vary based on 5 main factors: the province, the type of institution, your field of study, your level of education, and your immigration status. First, the province. Some provinces are more expensive than others. Ontario and British Columbia, for example, are generally costly, while Quebec or certain rural institutions may offer more affordable tuition. Second, the type of institution. Generally speaking, colleges and institutes are less expensive than universities. Public or partially subsidized institutions also tend to cost less than private institutions. Third, your field of study. A program in medicine or mechanical engineering will almost always cost more than a program in education or the humanities. So your chosen field can significantly impact your tuition fees even within the same institution. Fourth, your degree level matters. In Canada, there are generally 3 levels. The bachelor's degree, which usually takes 3 or 4 years, the master's degree, which typically takes 1 to 2 years after the bachelor's, and the PhD, which can take anywhere from 3 to 6 years after the master's. Each level comes with its own tuition structure. And finally, your immigration status plays a major role. In Canada, there are often different tuition categories. International students usually pay the highest fees. Canadian students from another province pay less. And Canadian students who are residents of the province generally pay the lowest tuition rates. Now, focusing only on tuition fees would be a beginner's mistake. You also need to look at the proof of financial support required by the government, along with your everyday living expenses. At the time I'm recording this podcast, people applying for a study permit must prove to the Canadian government that they have access to $22,895 for a single person, $28,502 for 2 people, $35,040 for 3 people, and so on. These amounts may change over time, so always verify the official government requirements before submitting your application. It's also important to note that these amounts only cover living expenses. They do not include tuition fees or transportation costs. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Those living expense requirements already seem high. If I can gather that amount, everything should be fine. Not really. In many cases, these amounts are simply not enough to maintain a decent quality of life, especially in expensive cities like Toronto or Vancouver. A lot of students only realize this after arriving in Canada, when they discover that rent alone can swallow a huge portion of their budget. You absolutely need to build a realistic budget and carefully evaluate your housing, transportation, food, healthcare, and leisure expenses. Because beyond studying, you also need to live, breathe, go out, build relationships, and protect your mental health. And that may mean choosing a different school or a different city than the one you originally had in mind. The point here is to make a strategic decision, one that allows you to reach your goals without drowning in debt. To help with that, know that I share practical benchmarks in my book, Costs of Moving to Canada, The Ultimate Guide. I even walk through the real-life example of a student, including all the expenses they faced before departure, upon arrival, and afterward. My goal is to give you clarity while helping you avoid a financial disaster. If you want, I can also help you build your own budget. I spent 5 years working in financial controlling and more than 2 years researching for my book. So, yes, I can absolutely guide you on this topic. All right, let's recap. You now have a better understanding of Canadian post-secondary institutions and the financial realities involved. And if you want your expenses to become a worthwhile investment, then it's important to move forward intentionally. So let me ask you this. What is your real goal in studying in Canada? Maybe you simply want to earn a recognized diploma before returning to your home country or moving somewhere else in the world. If that's the case, then your strategy should focus on the international recognition of your degree and the transferability of your skills. Make sure the internships and experiences you gain here will carry value in the job market you eventually want to work in. But maybe your goal is to stay in Canada after graduation. If so, then your study project is no longer just an educational project. It becomes the first step of an immigration plan. And many students realize too late that they should have thought wisely, long before choosing their program and institution. You need to be strategic. Make sure your program makes you eligible for the post-graduation work permit, also known as the PGWP. First, because the transition is not automatic, and second, because the PGWP can become an excellent bridge toward the Canadian job market and eventually permanent residency. But do know that eligibility rules depend on several criteria, and those criteria change regularly. So always make sure you verify the latest information on official government websites. Waiting until the end of your studies to think about these questions could leave you stuck with very limited options. Thinking about them before you even arrive in Canada means starting your journey with a clear plan from day one. All right, it's time to wrap things up. Let me give you 3 takeaways from this episode. First takeaway: pursuing post-secondary studies in Canada is an incredible opportunity. It's a chance to discover a new culture, discover yourself, and develop your knowledge and skills like never before. For many people, this experience becomes a true personal turning point. Second takeaway: university is a gateway. Colleges and institutes are as well. Both paths deserve serious consideration. But always remember this: the success of your project does not depend solely on the reputation of your institution. It also depends, and this is crucial, on your financial capacity. Will you realistically be able to finance your studies and maintain a decent quality of life while living here? Third takeaway: be intentional and strategic with your project. What do you truly want from your experience in Canada? Do you want to study here and then leave afterward? Or do you hope to stay in Canada long term? The answers to these questions will help you build solid foundations for your future success. Because a successful expatriation project is not just a project that helps you leave. It's a project that allows you to build something sustainable afterward. You can find the notes for this episode in the Learn section of my website, bienvenueaucanada.ca. This will allow you to review the key points of the episode. And yes, even if the name of my website is in French, the articles are in English. And that's it for today. Thank you for listening until the end. If you enjoyed the episode, please subscribe to the podcast, give it many stars, and leave a comment. It will make me happy, but more than that, it'll help new people discover the podcast.